Hello, 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 hello. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Domestic Fridays. I am your host, Phenomenal Mindy, and what we're going to talk about today is going to be a delicate topic. It's going to be a delicate conversation that some people don't want to address. But what we're gonna do here, we're gonna address it anyway because it need to be addressed. And what better way to do it than I address it to you guys? By all means, I'm no professional. I'm no mental health coach. I'm no domestic violence coach whatsoever. I'm just giving you my advice from my experiences, me helping people that I encounter with. So today's topic is going to be about child abuse. Child abuse, it's a touchy subject. It's really something that, is shrugged off as well as domestic violence. So we're diving into this topic because these are the type of things that will lead into domestic violence. So I want to kind of give you some things to go with and so you can know and be aware of what's really going on within your community or within your family and things you can talk about and address. There's no such thing as whatever stays within this family, we're not gonna, reach outside the home. We're burying that. We are rewriting the wrongs of our ancestors. At least we're trying with this particular topic. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right in continuation of last week about child abuse because I realized that I really didn't dive deep into the topic and kind of break everything down. I'm gonna give you a list of things that you can go by again so you can know and identify what's really going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is physical abuse with a child. Now, this here is something that's seen often in school, and most people that encounter it first are the teachers, and some of them are afraid to report, and some of them just, as they say, I want to mind my business. But we don't want to do that no more when it's affecting a child. Children and elderly is something that's dear to my heart that I take very, very seriously and I don't take lightly. So by all means, but nevertheless, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the physical abuse. How you can know the signs. The signs will be unexplained energy, frequent bruises, burns, fractures, webs, scars, and it can impact and lead to physical injuries, long-term health term problems, and it can even be psychological issues like anxiety and depression. Again, these are the type of things that lead to domestic violence from a child into adulthood. Some of the symptoms are unexplained injuries or bruises, fear of going home, or seeing certain individual changes in behavior such as aggression or withdrawal causes, stress on the child, trauma, and in the caregiving life, like I said before, these are all common things as well. Substance abuse issues, lack of parenting skill or knowledge about child development that it's affecting children. You don't know anything about child development. So uh before I say my point, I'm gonna give you the short term and the long term. The short term will be immediately injuries. It will be emotional distress and fear. Long term, it will be potential for developing mental health issues, including, like I said, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenic, depression, and it can also spring into relationships and coping mechanisms used in adulthood. Now, I'm reminded of a movie that I saw, and I'm pretty sure you guys are really, really familiar with this movie because it's very old with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and the movie is called Kindergarten Cop. Now, I love that movie, and I still can watch this movie to this day because it is some humor in it, but it also is an eye opening to people who is affected by child abuse. Now, in this particular movie, the child end up coming to school, and as Arnold Schwarzenegger went on a assignment to kinda get this guy for, he wanted to take the child and run off. He was on this assignment, but he had to be a substitute teacher. And him doing so on his assignment as his job as a police officer, he ended up discovering bruises on a child's back, and the child often shrugged it off or was taught this is what you do by the abuser. This is what you do when you come in contact if somebody asks you this. And mom also, she kind of enforced the rules. She kind of enforced what dad had to say, but at some point, Honor, he just was like, nah, if this kid come to school with abuse on his back again, we got a problem. So imagine him being an officer undercoverly trying to not blow his cover for his assignment that he really is there for. So he end up, she end up allowing the kid, to get abused again. And once he approached her, she ended up saying that he fell down the stairs. But this particular day, if you can remember the movie well, like I can, this particular day, the child father end up driving the mother and the child to school. And Honor end up, beating them up in front of the principal, and the principal was so ecstatic. She was just like, Yes, yes." You know what I'm saying? I'm by all means, I'm not, saying return the favor with the favor, but hey. So, I kind of remember that movie as a physical abuse on the child growing up, and it's a movie that I can't remember if I watched it in school or if I didn't. I'm not really sure, where did I end up watching the movie, but it's a very stampede in my house, and I do let my children watch it to teach it. It also teach about stranger danger, and we also learn about Macduff growing up in school. So this was another form to teach kids about fire, all types of different things, all type of learning things inside this movie. So you might want to look at this movie. So it can, impact the development of a child, and this is physical abuse now. Children who experience physical abuse often, struggle with trust, fear, and self-esteem. They may develop attachment disorder. So when I say it's not the ideal of children having trust with, stranger danger. No, it's just with people who are there in the position for as teachers, doctors, whatever, that's caring for the child. They don't trust, or somebody like an aunt or uncle who doesn't know what's going on, or cousin, or whatever the case may be, somebody that's older and they don't know really what's going on. They don't trust them because of some, fear. And if they hear a certain particular word, then those children are gonna, not respond to you at all. Some of them will stare at you, and then you have to know within yourself as an adult something is wrong and try your best to get involved. Don't ignore child abuse at all by any means. Like I said, because when you do this, you are setting the child up for failure. And we want to be a community that really cares about the children and want to get involved. Now, the cognitive development part of this stress come from abuse can affect a child ability to concentrate, to learn, leading academic struggles. They don't, you know, now I'm not let me say this. I'm not talking about the children that have special needs. That's by all means it's not something that I'm referring to. I'm referring to children that have cognitive skills because of something that was caused as a trauma of a person. That's what I'm referring to. They don't like to socialize because they want to be within themselves because of the fear of what may go on or the triggers that's around them. Again, I'm not talking about a child that has special needs. That's totally something different. They also can have social development issues. Abused children may have difficulty forming healthy relationships, leading to isolation and aggressive behavior. This is something that I really, really wanted to dive in. Social development, because this plays a part. And if a child is abused and doesn't get healed or doesn't go through the necessary process of the steps that the child may need to get healed from the trauma from the parent or whoever the guardian may be, and they would develop social development withdrawal. They don't want to be around. They want to be isolated, and within their isolating, they're angry, they're mad, they're upset because children are like sponges. They don't really know what's going on. They can't comprehend every single thing adult can comprehend. So these children are affected by that. So they begin to get aggressive, and if you don't get some type of help, or if you don't walk away from a domestic violence situation, or if you don't walk away from your mental health telling you to abuse a child, let me say that, then these are the things that you're 9 times out of 10 you are pushing a child to be domestic within their own reason at their particular age. And they're gonna grow up and be an adult, and they're gonna be abusing every which way. And it's gonna be something, you started it, and it's something that's generation, and we want to break the generational curse. We don't want domestic violence to be affected by our children, and they not be able to, grow up and within themselves, and to be the best person they can be without all this trauma going on within their head. So we don't want that, you know? So you gotta fix this again. So this is how everything ties back in to domestic violence. And the child is very, very angry. And again, you don't want that. You don't want that for your children. So the attachment issues that they have, abused children may struggle to form secure attachments, leading to difficulties in trust others, forming healthy relationships in adulthood. Again, I can't stress this enough. A kid is not going to be attached to, what they need to be attached to as children. Not all this foolishness, not all this junk, not all this cussing, not all this toxic. Cause that's not cute by all means. Because again, when you raising a child up in a toxic home, and you sitting up there letting them children see the toxic behavior because it's funny to you and it's cute to you. But you have to look at what your children may see or what the children may see. You don't want to project that out into, the environment. You just don't want to do that. Because again, that's not cute. And I kind of get offended by people who think that, toxicity is cute, it's sexy. Oh, I'm toxic. Oh, it's toxic over here. What's cute about that? I don't get it. What is cute about being toxic? If you know, call me up and let me know, or DM me, or comment at the bottom of this video. What is toxic? What is this so cute to you? What is that? I don't understand that. So, kids can have self-esteem issues. And when I say self-esteem issues, they're experiencing abuse that can result in low self-esteem, feeling worthlessness, and negative self-image. Children may internalize the abuse as their own fault. Now, again, you don't want a child to look at your situation. And sometimes I know parents can say, "Oh, that's not my intentions. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I was trying to project out here. That's not the information that I want to lead or portray," but you're still in the situation. You're not getting help. You can get help. This is the type of shows that you need to be listening to on a daily basis to get help to walk. Because you need to walk and don't look back, you know? And there's things in place, and I'll insert that at the end of the video, things to help you with that. But they can have difficulty managing their emotion, leading to anxiety, anger, depression. You don't want a child to be depressed at school. You don't want that, because a lot of times children go to school hungry. They're depressed about that. There's no food at home. And I'm thankful for the programs that in place that give the children the type of bags, after school care and after school. I remember when I was living in Arkansas, um, they had this program like I never seen before. That's different from Tennessee now. The program actually took up donations, and when I say hauls and hauls of trucks of not stuff that's outdated, stuff that was donated by all different sponsors and everything, and they gave it out to all the children. It wasn't the type of things that the children get now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting MSCS, but the stuff that the children get now, I wonder sometimes who is behind all this food nutrition. But again, that's another topic. So what we're going to talk about, now is the cognitive development. These children have a learning difficulty because sometimes they're holding themselves. If they have a physical abuse, if they have a physical scar, they're holding themselves. They don't know what they're thinking about. They wondering, why did my parent beat me, and why did my guardian beat me? Why did anybody that's in control of their well-being, why did they discipline me in that way? I talked about on the last show how I was disciplined with switches and extension cords, all of that. That was a form of physical abuse. I'm not trying to throw nobody under the bus. I'm just trying to speak the truth and let the truth be known. I'm not by any means gonna hide my truth just so I can suppress and make someone else look like they're glorified in something that was a trauma or traumatic to me. That's just something I'm not gonna do. So a lot of them, grew up, and I'm not gonna lie, I had learning difficulties because I couldn't understand what was happening to me. I was getting disciplined, but in the discipline, begin to be abused. So, and I'm not gonna say that I didn't come out all right on the other side, but some people don't come out right on the other side. It's just everybody's not built the same. Everybody is not made the same. Everybody is not equal to the same. But however, the information is here, and the information stays the same. The facts are the facts. So a lot of my siblings did have problem solving skills, meaning that the child can struggle with critical thinking and decision making, often influenced by a lack of support and yet positive reinforcement. There was no positive. Let me be honest with you and transparent. There was no positive whatsoever encountered on this side when it came to child abuse. There was nothing positive out of that situation. No matter how I pushed forward, no matter how I told someone, no matter how I may not told no one at that particular time, there was nothing positive out of that. And I'm just out of the three children that my parents had, I'm just one of the child that was able to make it over and cross over. Everybody else can't, they couldn't do that. And it's something that traveled with them within their adulthood, and they're struggling with this. So there's not the only one, there's not the only people, they're not the only children that's going through this. There are other people. So you want to try to be a helpmate one to another and put and project positive energy out there and give the information so it's out there. So if needed, they can go ahead and grab it and retain it. So, you know, the social development, it was a struggle for my brother. He had a problem with interacting with peers, leaders to isolate, or he didn't do aggressive behavior, but a lot of children do, or as they say, characterized as ADHD or ADD or whatever. And they can aggress behavior and they can struggle to communicate their needs. Again, this is not talking about no child that have special needs or any form or on the spectrum whatsoever. These are things that were put out in the environment that could have been controlled by an adult or an authority person. Now, these type of children grow up with behavioral issues. Some of them exhibit behavior problems, including aggression, withdrawal, or a response to their experience. This is what they doing. They only responding to what they see, what they went through. And no matter how many times in your mind you tell a child, this is not what I want you to see. Don't do what you see me do. Do what I tell you to do. How can they do that when children minds are sponges? They do what they see you do with their eyes. They don't have a sense of ability and say like we do, like no, 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 no. They're still in the learning stage. So, as I begin to write all this down, y'all, I was, going over everything, and I was like I said, I was so ecstatic and happy because I was able to put something together that may be helpful and useful to children, or if you're a parent raising your child, this is a helpful information. Because at this point, we shouldn't be using extension cords. We shouldn't be using extension cords. I'm gonna really be honest because you have to think about how would you feel, you as an adult, Every time you don't do what somebody else asks you to do, discipline you with a extension cord, or think about Kuta Kinte. How would you feel if somebody do you like that? You constantly wailing and wailing and wailing and wailing. How would you feel? And then sometimes when parents be disciplining children, they have the tendency to black out. So now you're just you gone. Because I'm gonna tell you, I really was witnessing something that somebody was disciplining a child. And when I say they was going too far, and I could see it going too far, and this was a man. I could see it going too far to the extreme, and I intervened. And when I intervened, the child was so happy that I intervened because I could literally, it went from discipline to anger, and I could literally see him sliding the child, with me in my eyes. He never did it, but I could see him doing it. So I had to intervene, like, wait, 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 wait. This is going too far. Because when you're disciplining a child, you don't want to discipline a child and you're angry. You definitely don't want to do that. And that's how it leads into, now forget the, paddling, forget, the discipline. Now I'm abusing you. And so you don't want that. And these children will grow up with having difficulties with empathy. They will have trauma that, they would think can't be repaired. They don't have the ability to emphasize with other people. They affected their interpretation and their interpersonal skills, relationships far as social, physical health, and social integration. They standoffish. And if you can remember back in the movie A Kindergarten Cop, how the little boy was standoffish. And Anna had to see what's really going on. Why is this child feeling like this? Why is this child doing it? So, get involved is what I'm gonna say. So they will also have health issues. The stress from the abuse can lead to various physical health problems, including chronic pain, gastro issues, and immune system suppression. And a lot of these children grow up to be on drugs to suppress the things that they was feeling or seeing while they was a child that they didn't get the help or the counseling with. They suppress it. So again, you will risk behaviors as adolescents. These are survivors of abuse engage in risky behaviors, including substance abuse, self harm, coping mechanism. You know, they don't really understand. I'm telling you, what's really going on. You don't want none of that. Nobody wants, as they say, a sick child. Nobody wants that. You don't want the long term consequences, the mental health issues, the disorder, and because these children are seeing that they are at higher risk for that to develop PTSD, anxiety disorder, and depression in adulthood, and they can't even hold the conversation because you ain't even get them the help they need because you're stuck in your funk that you can't even get out of. Or that I ain't gonna say can't get out of, or that you're not trying to even get out of. Cause it's not cute to walk around with a black eye. It's not cute to ignore red flags and red signs. These things are already there. So don't feel like, oh, I didn't see the signs before that. Yes, you did. You saw them. Them red flags was waving at you. They was waving at you, and guess what you were doing? Ignoring them. Why? Because they had something about them that you like and gave you a comfort sensibility of he cool. He just a little cray cray. But you got to pay attention to that. So, with that being said, I'm giving you everything that I have far as child abuse. Like I said, this could be physical, emotional, sexual, or this can be, a form of neglect. Now, I'm going to tell you about this emotional abuse with this. It is so pivotal that kids have friends going up. It is so pivotal that children participate in activities. You don't want them to be extremely aggressive that don't nobody want to be around them. You don't want them to be extremely aggressive to the point where they're not allowed to do nothing. When we go out on activities or when we go on different field trips. They can't come because why? Lil Ray Ray is acting crazy and cutting up in school. He can't even act. Again, I'm not talking about people that were born with disabilities. That's not what I'm talking about. So you don't want this to be something that they're struggling with, you know, at all. You don't want this to be, and for me, let me say this. A lot of these people who abuse children struggle themselves with PTSD, struggle themselves with anxiety disorder, struggle themselves with depression. Because if you I was born in the 80s. If you were born in between the, let's say, if you were born between the 70s and the 80s, we are the people that now have set boundaries. And so the children behind us have picked up to setting boundaries and are more vocal. I could say the 90s children are up are more vocal, but the people that were born back from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, a lot of them have depression. I'm gonna really be honest. And it's because of their environment. It's because of how they grew up. And it's not to say that, it's their parents' fault totally, because this was a worldwide thing. A lot of these children, and let me take it back a little bit further. I could say probably within the 50s too, the 40s and the 50s too, a lot of these children grew up picking cotton. So a lot of them are now transitioning to what now is our normal reality, and they can't get over the stuff that happened back then because it was very traumatic. They don't have the things that they have in place now for adults or for us now. Back then, they didn't have all of that. They didn't have insurance. They didn't have all of that. So I definitely do, understand. But we want to get out of the intergenerational cycle. We want to get out of that without having some type of intervention. We want to get out of that because this effect can cause a lot of abuse that can perpetrate across a lot of generations. And as survivors may struggle to, parent their children effectively, again, like I said, this is all due to unresolved trauma. So, you know, you don't want to do that. And I'm going to continue this conversation because I feel like I need to talk a little bit more about child abuse. And I think I'm going to push into sexual abuse, and I'm not going to cover that today. And I think that's where a lot of brokenness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of unpurity comes in it. And I'm going to dive deep into the sexual abuse. Let me say that again. I'm going to dive deep into the sexual abuse. And I know this is something that, some people may don't want to talk about because they not healed from that place. I'm okay with talking about sexual abuse. I've healed from all of that. And I'm to the point I do remember, but I never forget. So I'm not gonna let that pour into my adulthood and allow me to not be the best mom that I could be for my two boys. So if you're not to the point where you're able to talk about certain different topics, then you're not healed from that. If you're not, if you have anxiety, you're not healed from that. And again, by all means, I'm not a mental health coach. By all means, I'm just giving you the things that I've encountered and I've seen. So within this, again, a lot of risk factors is likely to happen for children. And their, parent issues can be substance abuse, mental health problems, a history of being abused themselves. And again, this is hurt people hurting people. I know you would think everybody doesn't adapt the concept of I don't need to hurt a child to know that I have power. And it hurts me deeply to my heart for children that they don't have the parent that they should have. And it's so pivotal that you learn how to parent. And I know it's not a manual on it. You can read all the books you want to read, but they may not be pertaining to your particular child. So get some help. Get some help out here. Don't be around here hitting them children, beating them children, slapping them children on the back of their head. You know you can mess their skull up. Like, no. Again, I said in the last video, this is something that was beating our children and I'm saying our as a whole. I'm not saying that I do it. When I say our, I'm saying our as a whole in the community. When we hit our children in the back of the head, you know you gonna mess their skull up. You know you abusing them. Stop hitting them in their chest. Talking about be a man. Stop doing it. That ain't making them no man. That's making them tough and very aggressive towards you, and you wonder why they 15 and 16 and want to knock the hell out of you. Like, no, that's stop. Don't do that. Stop participating in that frolic activity. No, don't be smacking them. Like if anything, you're supposed to be building them up. If you've been through this, you should get healed in every situation so you don't project that onto your children. They didn't ask to be here. So I love you guys, and I don't want to seem like, I'm fussing. 'Cause that's not what I'm doing. I'm just, giving y'all the information out here. And I'm letting you see that we got to do better as a community and as a whole. We got to do better. But before I get out of here, this month is a National Domestic Violence Month. This is the end of everything. And so by the time you see this video, it probably would be the first or the second. So I just want to let you know, if you know anybody, or if anybody out there is going through domestic violence, call the 1-800-799-7233 number, and they will point you in the right direction. If you need help leaving a situation and you're a woman, log on to womenlaw.org. This is to help you get out of the domestic situation. If you're in Memphis or Tennessee, should I say, call me at 901-501-5456, or you can email me at phenomenal reflection. Make sure there's an S on there. 2024@gmail.com. This has been an awesome show, and I thank you. Make sure you're following me on YouTube, Spotify, and even Facebook. If you have TikTok, I produce videos on there as well. Follow me there as well. I love you and thank you for listening in to me. And I will see you on the next Domestic Friday. Thank you. And until next time, I love each and every one of you. Bye bye for now.